Key point 1. Less information, more insight. Humans now live in a period of information overload, where staying focused and productive is becoming increasingly difficult. 2 centuries ago, a Bachelor of Science holder was considered knowledgeable in all aspects of their field. Nowadays, even a PhD in biology might not encompass all knowledge about a fish's nervous system. We are inundated with an unprecedented volume of information and surrounded by distractions. On average, we process about 100,000 words daily during our leisure time alone. This data deluge is a primary cause of reduced productivity and a loss of motivation. We are increasingly burdened by this information explosion, trying to discern essential from non-essential knowledge. Many of us still feel overwhelmed despite taking notes, making to-do lists, and setting reminders on emails and phones. Attention is the most essential mental resource for any organism. Daniel J. Levitin. Indeed, the task of organizing our digital media and files can be pretty daunting. Each of us has an amount of information on our computers equivalent to more than 500,000 books. This staggering figure doesn't even account for the additional information stored on our various digital devices. Be selective about the media sources you engage with. Quality over quantity is key. In this summary, you will gain a deeper insight into the devastating effect of information overload on the mind. You will also learn how to best engage your brain and remain productive in the face of distractions. Key point 2. Zoom in to stand out. While our brains can process the vast amounts of information we absorb, this comes with a significant cost. We can find it very difficult to separate the trivial from the important. Besides, all this information processing makes us tired. The cells of our brains, neurons, are living elements that undergo different metabolic processes. They thrive on oxygen and glucose, and when the cells have worked too hard, these essential resources get depleted, and we suffer from fatigue. It means that every Facebook status update, every tweet, every email, and text message competes for your brain's resources, which could be better used for more significant matters, such as investment strategies, recalling where you placed your passport, or figuring out how to resolve a recent argument with a friend. Focus on making important choices early in the day when your decision-making energy is highest. Moreover, neuroscientists have found that the vast amount of information we encounter today leads to decision overload, significantly contributing to unproductivity and a decline in motivation. Daily we are bombarded with numerous trivial decisions, such as choosing which sock to put on first, deciding between the bus or subway for commuting, selecting what to eat, or where to shop. Regrettably, our brains are naturally programmed to handle only a limited number of daily decisions. Once we reach this threshold, our ability to make further decisions, regardless of their significance, diminishes. Moreover, making choices is time-consuming, and it distracts us from the things that are actually essential. It hinders us from being present and giving our best in the here and now. Indeed, various studies have demonstrated that people making inconsequential decisions, for example, choosing between a ballpoint pen or a felt-tip pen for writing, exhibited reduced impulse control and poorer judgment in subsequent decisions. Key point 3. Simplify to amplify. So how can you stay focused and productive in the face of the information and decision overload you are experiencing today? According to Daniel Levitin, the most basic principle behind having an organized mind is to transfer the task of organizing from your brain to your external environment. So you can use your digital devices, calendars, notepads, or index cards as brain extenders. Essentially, employing brain extenders allows you to transfer numerous details onto paper or computer chips, freeing your mind from retaining them. Across the globe, highly successful individuals, especially those in creative fields, heavily rely on external memory and attention management systems. Use a planner, digital app, or notebook to jot down your obligations. It frees up mental space and reduces stress. These individuals never try to keep every piece of information and idea in mind, because they know that the human brain can store information, but isn't good at retrieving it. Essentially, when we try to remember mentally stored data, it often comes out distorted. Moreover, when you simply keep a mental record of something important, especially a to-do item, you'll naturally be afraid you'll forget it, so your brain will keep rehearsing it, tossing it around and around in circles. Some persistently feel the obligation needs attention, leading to inherent stress and reduced productivity. Writing it down conserves mental energy that would otherwise be spent worrying about forgetting something. Moreover, noting down your tasks and ideas removes them from your mind, clearing your brain of excess information that hampers your ability to focus on what's truly important. Key point 4. One task at a time. Trying to stay productive in the face of the plethora of information available today has pushed most of us to resort to multitasking. We frequently push our brain to focus on more than one thing at a time, something it wasn't designed to do. The truth is our attention is a limited capacity resource. To pay attention to one thing, you will have to stop paying attention to something else. In essence, you can't focus on multiple things at once. The human brain isn't wired that way. When people believe they are multitasking, they are, in reality, rapidly switching between tasks, incurring a cognitive cost each time. This fast and continuous attention shifting, often misconceived as multitasking, causes the brain to quickly deplete its glucose and oxygen supply. This rapid consumption leads to exhaustion and disorientation after a relatively short period. Multitasking drains the brain's nutrients, affecting cognitive and physical performance. Moreover, this frequent task switching contributes to anxiety. Heightened anxiety elevates cortisol levels in the brain, which can result in aggressive and impulsive behaviors. Engage in mindfulness exercises to improve your ability to concentrate. Compounding the issue, multitasking often involves making decisions, deciding whether to respond to an email or ignore it, determining the appropriate response, figuring out how to categorize the email, choosing between continuing work or taking a break. Decision-making is particularly taxing on your neural resources. Additionally, it has been shown that minor decisions can consume as much energy as major ones. Therefore, when you force yourself to make a series of decisions rapidly, your impulse control is the first thing to diminish. It quickly leads to a depleted state where, after many inconsequential decisions, you may make poor choices regarding something significant. Key point 5. The value of your space. Not many of us can say that our homes or workspaces are perfectly organized. We often find ourselves losing important things like our car keys, passport, or a valuable piece of mail. We go shopping and forget the items we intended to buy. We miss appointments we were confident we'd remember. And whenever things like this happen, we get frustrated and stressed. Use color coding for notes, folders, or calendar entries to categorize and prioritize tasks. Fortunately, our environments can act as aids for our mental processes and enhancers for our cognitive functions. The only way to harness this power and make life easier is by organizing your house and office the way your mind likes. Arranging the objects in your surroundings can swiftly alleviate the mental effort required to remember their locations, and maintaining their organization can be both aesthetically and emotionally satisfying. One way to use your physical environment as a cognitive enhancer is by following the rule of designated places. This principle entails assigning particular spots in your house to designated locations for specific objects. So, to make it easier for your mind to remember things, designate a place for every object and put it back in its place after using it. This approach is highly effective because a specific area of our brain, the hippocampus, is responsible for recalling objects' spatial positioning. For example, to prevent misplacing your keys or locking yourself out, you can place a bowl or a hook near the door you commonly use. Then as soon as you walk in, you hang the keys there. This way, you will never have to worry about losing your keys or locking yourself out of the house. You can also have a special tray in the living room for your cell phone or mail, and a special hook or drawer for sunglasses. The fundamental concept behind these strategies is that you transfer information from your brain into your environment, utilizing your surroundings as a prompt for what you need to accomplish. Key point 6. The mind loves categories. Studies have shown that the human mind is good at creating and thinking in categories. So, just like having designated places for objects, sorting things into categories can offload many of the difficult tasks of the brain into the environment. For example, if you have a drawer designated for baking supplies, you don't have to individually recall the locations of various items like the rolling pin, cookie cutters, or sifter. Instead, you must remember that all your baking tools are categorized together in the third drawer, located beneath the coffee maker. Daniel Levitin recommends grouping objects in our homes and workspaces according to appearance or function. For example, you can arrange your pencils in different places based on their appearance, or have a space for colored pencils and another for gray ones. You may also arrange objects according to what you use them for. For example, you might put forks, spoons, knives, and dishes together. Similarly, stamps, envelopes, and stationery could be grouped in the same desk drawer, as they are often used in conjunction. Regularly practice navigating new routes or exploring new areas without GPS to enhance your spatial memory. Staying in a visually organized environment helps keep your mind focused. By arranging your living space and establishing specific spots or items to ensure they can be easily found, you're transferring some of the memory tasks from your brain to your surroundings. Essentially, this approach simplifies your life and maintains a visually organized environment, preventing distractions when trying to relax, work, or locate something. The fact that our brains are naturally good at creating categories is a powerful lever for organizing our lives. Daniel J. Levitin. Key point 7. Work-wise, rest to rise. We already discussed the evidence against multitasking as a strategy for achieving productivity. But realistically speaking, is it easy to give up multitasking? Isn't it what our current corporate culture demands? Despite all the apparent scientific evidence, multitasking still remains a persistent myth. Despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, the majority of us still cling to the belief that we can do many things simultaneously without any detriment to our attention span. We persist in rapidly shifting our focus from one task to another, which invariably hampers our productivity. Given the clear evidence, we might expect people to recognize their inefficiency at multitasking and stop. However, a cognitive illusion persists, partly fueled by a mental dopamine-adrenaline feedback loop, leading multitaskers to believe they perform excellently. Compounding this issue is the modern corporate culture that erroneously equates overwork and lack of sleep with productivity, encouraging multitasking. In today's business environment, practices like overworking, pulling all-nighters, and multitasking are often glorified. Employers frequently offer bonuses and salary increases as incentives for overwork. Moreover, many managers implement stringent policies, such as mandatory responses to emails within 15 minutes or keeping a chat window open at all times, further promoting this unsustainable work ethic. It's okay to decline additional responsibilities if you're already stretched thin. However, the truth is that overwork and multitasking are grossly counterproductive. When you work without getting enough rest, especially when your work involves trying to do more than one thing at once, you quickly get fatigued. Did you know? After 24 hours of sleep deprivation, the glucose levels in the part of your brain used for making sense of information drop dramatically. In effect, this leads to a significant decrease in your cognitive capacity. Conclusion. Information overload is a great challenge for our generation, and this dilemma is making it increasingly difficult for us to stay focused and productive. Every day, we persistently grapple with discerning what we genuinely need to understand and what is unnecessary for us to know. The truth is that the human brain is designed to process one idea at a time. When the brain is exposed to a myriad of information, it simply focuses on one thing and ignores the rest. Most companies are losing the productivity battle today because they encourage their workers to overwork and multitask. Businesses experiencing peak productivity offer organized workspaces and sufficient rest for their staff. Working in a high-pressure setting with relentless demands can hinder profound insights. Moreover, excessive work hours and lack of sleep often lead to errors that take longer to rectify than the extra hours. Rather than wearing yourself out with multitasking, it's more effective to divide your workload into concentrated segments, interspersing them with breaks, physical activities, or other activities that rejuvenate your mind. This way, your productivity will increase considerably because you'll approach each task with a clear and restored mind. In essence, being organized can do us a lot of good by helping us simplify and structure how information flows through our lives. In addition, by developing personal habits and organizational systems, you can lead your mind effortlessly to good decision-making. Try this. Create a clear distinction between your work hours and rest periods. Discipline yourself to stop working at a specific time each day and dedicate the remainder to relaxation and sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Create a bedtime routine that signals it's time to wind down, like reading a book or meditating before bed. Integrate short, regular breaks throughout your workday. It could be a 5-minute walk, a quick meditation session, or stepping away from your workspace to clear your mind.